Traders, how are you? Marcello, founder of the Day Trading Academy, co-founder of Speed Up Trader. Today we're going to be doing the recap of what happened in the markets last week. Overall, we had, let me just the camera here. There we go. Whoa. There we are. Beautiful. Overall this week, we had markets at record levels. On Monday, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 hit record highs due to the fact that the FDA approved an emergency use blood plasma to COVID-19 patients. Trump is also saying that he might fast track the vaccine as well. So it looks like, we might be on the final, running to home run from third base. There's also another piece of news that the UK and the airports are using a test that takes 20 seconds to get an answer in regards of whether you have COVID or not. So they're hopeful that they may be able to use that in the future as well, to be able to, live life again. Other than that, Tuesday, market hit record highs again, most specifically the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. There's been news, the news that caused the rush was a 36% surge in sales in newly built homes in July, but consumer confidence is falling for the second consecutive month in a row. Wednesday, stocks were higher. Thursday, they were mixed. Friday, we also had higher stocks as well, with the S&P 500 hitting its sixth record high and the best August for the S&P 500 in 34 years. The NASDAQ hit a record high again as well, and the Dow was finally positive for the year, which is great news for all of you guys that own stocks and have pension funds and retirement funds. The news, one thing that I thought was really interesting this week was the fact that the New Zealand Stock Exchange has been closed as of Friday for the fourth consecutive day in a row due to a cyber attack from overseas, but they're not sure what the motive was for these actual attacks. I think this is really interesting because they could, for example, be testing how to be able to take down a stock exchange, right? So there could be a kind of a pre-run for something much bigger, which is, kind of frightening. If you guys don't know, by the way, the U.S. stock markets, most of them have their backup servers in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is about 3 hours or so, 3-4 hours from New York. The U.S. stocks so far for the week, the Dow is up 2.59%, went up 0.40% so far for the year. The S&P 500 is up 3.26%. For the year, it's up 8.58%. The NASDAQ is up 3.39% for the year. And for the week, and for the year, the NASDAQ is up 30.35%. International markets, the European markets were mixed. The SOC in France and Paris was up 2.17%. Most of the winners were around or under 2%. The losers were under 1% as well. Latin American markets, mostly mixed as well, with my dear Colombia being the biggest winner there. The African and Middle Eastern markets are higher, Egypt being the biggest winner at 2.70%. Asia and Australian markets are mixed this week. The Sensex was the biggest winner at 2.68%. The Philippines market was down 2.06%, and Malaysia was up 3.4%. Bitcoin this week down 1.01%, down to just under 11,500. And one of the very big piece of news that came out was that the third largest crypto exchange in South Korea was seized after they found out that 99% of the trading volume on it was faked. And this is something that I think all of you should pay attention to. It's not that you can't make money in Bitcoin, right? It can go up and go down. You can buy high, sell low, because obviously you're always going to make money, right? Especially looking after the facts. You can never lose money when it comes to the stock market. But it shows something that I think is really important, and it's a lack of regulation. And you can see what would have happened, for example, if you had a position open in that exchange. You see what I mean? So be very careful with the crypto market, because that's the one big thing that it lacks. It's what I always told you guys. I think the idea of the blockchain technology and cryptos is amazing. I wish the government would completely lose their interest in controlling world finance and the world, but that's not going to happen. So I think that blockchain, the technology that the cryptos and Bitcoin uses are the future, but I don't think that things like Bitcoin are going to be the new currency of the world because the governments aren't going to allow it. Other than that, in financial and banking news, Bank of America is saying that the Euro tech market and all of Europe was 4 times larger than the US in 2007, and now US stocks are more valuable by market cap than the entire Euro market. That kind of shows the difference between, for example, the economic systems where European is more socialist, US is more capitalistic, and you can see that the wealth generation, even though in these tech companies is at the top, unfortunately, it's not for you guys like you and I, is generating a lot more wealth for a lot more people rather than the one in Europe, which doesn't seem to be doing that for anybody. Commodities, the Category 4 Hurricane Laura smashed into Texas and Louisiana over the week. The storms were 150 miles per hour. I hope all of you that are there are definitely safe. It wiped out 82%, not wiped out, they shut down, I should say, 82% of the Gulf of Mexico's offshore production. Already on Monday, 82% was already shut down, and the refiners halted their facilities as well, which is about 10% of all U.S. total capacity. Overall for the week, U.S. crude was up 1.48% to $42.97. It's still down just under 30% for the year. International crude, which is called Brent, was up 1.57% to $45.05. It's still down 30.43%. Don't forget to subscribe here to the channel. Also, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and leave them with hashtag AskMarcello. I'll be happy to go ahead and continue. I'm going to start the videos up again, so leave your questions there. And if you like the videos that I do every week or the videos here on the channel, go ahead and leave your like. They're on the YouTube video. I do these completely free for you. If you guys don't know, I've been in this industry now for almost 20 years. Seems kind of amazing. I turned 29 again last year. So leave your like. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm, so I'd appreciate it. Overall for the week, the precious metals rallied on Friday as the dollar fell on news that the U.S. Fed is changing its policy. Just so you guys remember, gold all-time high, $2,074.88. Silver all-time high was actually in 1980 at $49.45, although everybody refers to the 2011 price, which was $48.48. Platinum all-time high, $934. Palladium, $22.30, $2,233. For the week, gold was up 1.13%, $1,965. Silver was up 2.41% at $27.57. Other than that, in political news, Japan's longest-serving premier, Shinzo Abe, icon of Abenomics, that didn't work. He sought to revive the growth of Japan, which it never worked. He did bolster the defenses of the country to deter China, which is something that he did do. He ruled for 8 years, and remember, Japan is the third largest economy in the world. You have the U.S., China, Japan, Germany, and then after that, the UK, India. Other than that, Belarusian, if I'm saying that correctly, the leader, Alexander Lukashenko, is still dealing with 3 weeks of the protests and the popular uprising after his contested election. He's threatening to cut off any Euro transit routes if the European countries decide to sanction his government. Trump officially accepted his renomination to the Republican Party at the convention, the online convention this week. Remember that we do have the presidential election, if I'm not mistaken, it's in early November. The odds of Trump winning, based on the polls that are being shown on TV and online, Trump has closed the gap with Biden in regards to the polls. And the odds are rising that he's going to potentially be reelected in November. Remember, when I talk about this stuff, I don't want to, it doesn't matter. I think we're all tired of political nonsense, right? This is like, it's always a fight. They're always yelling on the TV. So I never do politics. I'm just presenting the facts. So if you love Trump, hate Trump, love Obama, hate Obama, doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I'm just reporting the facts of what's actually happening. Brazil's economy crashed 9.4% in Q2, according to the economic news under the pandemic of the coronavirus. They had their worst 3-month period ever in the history of Brazil. Remember, they're the 9th largest economy in the world. One of the things I think are really interesting is Brazil has roughly 220 million people. They are the ninth largest economy in the world, whereas Canada has about 30 million people or so, and they're the 10th largest in the world. And look at the difference between the systems, right? Brazil, they've been voting more left-leaning politicians for decades, whereas Canada has kind of gone back and forth. And so the culture and the economic systems between both countries, you can see it works a lot better in Canada than in Brazil. Other than that, Mexico's central bank is stating that they may contract the economy of Mexico, which is the second largest in Latin America, between 12.8% or as little as 4.6% in 2020, deciding on what the government decides to do. The new orders for key U.S.-made capital goods are up in July to 1.9%. Wasn't as big as though what we had in June, which was 4.3%, which suggests a rebound in business investment is going to be a lot more gradual amid the uncertainty in regards to the pandemic, the coronavirus. U.S. consumer spending increased more than what it was expected as well in July at 1.9% after being at 6.2% in June. It boosts the expectations for a sharp rebound in economic growth in quarter three, though the momentum doesn't seem to be as strong anymore. Remember, the consumer spending in most countries is the absolute most important thing. In the U.S., it's almost 70% of the economy. So it's something that's incredibly important. Other than that, in corporate news, Netflix, the stock is up had its best day in over 3 years on Wednesday, jumping 11.6%. For the year, it's up 69.2%, outperforming a lot of rivals in the increasingly competitive market. Facebook, first time on Wednesday, it hit more than 300. It went up 8.22% on Wednesday, and for the year, it's up 67% so far. $2 stores, the top $2 stores, Dollar General Corp and Dollar Tree, also reported better than expected quarterly profit. Obviously, due to the pandemic, people losing their jobs, a lot more people are looking for deals when they're going grocery shopping. Dollar General rose 18.2% in quarter two same-sale stores, whereas Dollar Tree is up 7.2% in quarter two. On Monday, which affected us, obviously you guys know that we teach people how to day trade. We use Zoom. They had a huge server outage that affected quite a lot of people. I had to pay for another company to be able to have a backup since we were doing an online advanced training. But they had an outage. It has since been fixed. Peru is going to start testing some vaccines from China for the coronavirus, now that Peru has the highest mortality rate of the coronavirus in the world. And also Elon Musk started his neuroscience startup called Neuralink. He started it a while ago and he gave a demonstration of how it would work. The computer chips, essentially, which would go in your brain, he says would be able to help neurological conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, and spinal cord injuries as well. Investment news, India has become the second largest market for cell phones in the world, for smartphones, after China. It surpassed the United States in 2019 with 158 million units, with an increase of over 7% year over year. The sales of the iPhones in India surged in quarter two. And even though Chinese companies, I should say, do dominate in India, they, as a percentage of market share, they actually have gone down from 81% to 72% in quarter one. The UK government is offering 3 million British national overseas passport holders in Hong Kong a path to British citizenship after China violated the agreement that they had with the UK and passed the sweeping new security legislation for the colony that caused UK prices of homes to skyrocket 15% in April as more people from the Hong Kong are moving to Britain. U.S. consumer confidence dips to a 6-year low in August. Remember, one of the key components of the U.S. economy and most other economies around the world as well, including, for example, the UK. The vast majority of more, let's say, advanced economies, the vast majority of the economy is consumer confidence. I lost my track here. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So because the dip is at a 6-year low for August in consumer confidence in the U.S., there's a lot of worries in regards to the labor market and incomes, also the sustainability of the recovery from the pandemic as well. It dropped to 84.8, the number for the consumer confidence, which is the lowest since May 2014. It was at 91.7 in July, and economists are forecasting it's going to be 93 in August. U.S. new home sales, which is another big chunk, an important piece of the U.S. economy, rose 13.9%. Seasonally adjusted sales were at 901 units last month, the highest level since December 2006. If I remember correctly, I gave you guys the number a few years ago in relation to what percentage of the economy has to do with construction and new housing in the U.S. And if I remember correctly, it's between 10 to 20%. It's a big chunk of the U.S. economy. So that's a good thing. Right, so we do have some good news as well. Economists are forecasting that new home sales, which accounts of 13% of housing market sales, are getting 1.3% rate to 785,000 units. Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, is stating that they just passed legislation which is going to allow the federal government to review and also deny local authorities and public institutions agreements with China. So you guys can see the continued tilt towards, let's say, shunning China or against China. It has also been announced Walmart spiked 6% on the news that they're looking to participate in the purchase of TikTok. The parent company is called ByteDance from China. They are looking to buy it for $20 to $30 million as TikTok is selling its US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand operations to Microsoft and now apparently Walmart as well. And international events, the tensions escalating in the South China Sea as China continues to violate international agreements of international waters, and also as U.S. starts military exercises there as well. There's also complication or tensions rising, I should say, as the U.S. is selling Taiwan missiles that are tracking Chinese fighters. And if you guys don't know the situation there, essentially China says that Taiwan is a rogue province. Taiwan says that they're an independent nation. And the U.S. is obviously protecting Taiwan, which China doesn't like. U.S. troops also are injured during an incident with Russian forces in Syria. While the interactions between the Americans and the Russian forces are no longer rare, it shows how tensions can pop off, let's say, due to the fact that it's such a densely populated area between militaries in northern Syria. 2021 Davos World Economic Forum, which is a summit of business leaders, politicians, and leading citizens, says the report, and it's been canceled in January 2021 due to the coronavirus, but they're planning to reschedule for early next summer. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg calls for an investigation into the circumstances of the Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny's sickness, as it was reported that there was a toxic substance in his body, are quite credible. Russian efforts to minimize the news is hoping to not damage the relations between the U.S., not the U.S., I should say the West and Russia. So Russia doesn't want the news to get out because it may indicate that he was trying to be poisoned, and obviously who could he be poisoned because he's in opposition from the current government. Hungary is once again going to close its borders to foreigners on September 1st to curb the rise in coronavirus infections. Hungarians are returning from abroad are going to have to go into quarantine for 14 days, and they can leave the quarantine if they have 2 negative tests for the virus. An unusual facts this week: Elon Musk is now worth $96 billion, the fourth richest person in the world. He actually doesn't have a salary at Tesla. He gets paid with stock options based on goals that the company wants him to reach. And he already reached 2 of them, which are worth $2.8 billion. He's had 12 equal portions so far that are 20.3 million stock options. And he could become the richest person in the world if he actually reaches all the stock options. And Lord & Taylor, the first department store in the U.S. that was established in 1826, has officially decided to go bankrupt. They had announced on Thursday they're going to start liquidation sales on the 38 remaining stores and on the website as well, which is a reversal from the decision that they made to keep 14 locations open. That's the news for this week, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave your questions with the hashtag AskMarcello, and I'd love for you to leave a like there on the video, since they definitely help out on the YouTube algorithm. So we'll see you next week.